Sirens exploded through the night as red and blue lights flooded a quiet suburban street in Los Angeles. Police cruisers skidded to a stop in front of a massive gated mansion, their tires screeching against smooth pavement. Officers jumped out, radios crackling, voices urgent and overlapping. Lock down the perimeter. Search every vehicle leaving the area. A black luxury SUV sat just outside the gates, one door hanging open, its interior light glowing eerily in the dark. Inside the mansion, chaos had already taken over. "She was right here," a woman cried. Security guards moved frantically, checking cameras, shouting into earpieces. And at the center of it all stood a man whose name carried weight across the entire country. Richard Calloway gripped the edge of a marble table, his knuckles white. "Find my daughter," he said, his voice low but shaking with restrained fury. "I don't care what it takes, find her." Miles away from that panic, under a flickering streetlight near a quiet bus stop in downtown Los Angeles, a young man slowed his steps as something caught his attention. A little girl stood alone. Cars passed. People walked by. No one stopped. But she didn't move. She just stood there, small and lost, her eyes scanning every face like she was hoping one of them would feel familiar. The young man hesitated. Then he turned back. "Hey, are you okay?" he asked gently, crouching down. The girl looked at him, her lower lip trembling. I can't find my daddy." Something in her voice made it impossible to walk away. "Hey, it's all right," he said softly. "You're safe." And somewhere across the city, a billionaire was about to shake the entire system to find her. Marcus Reed had learned a long time ago that life didn't slow down for anyone. Especially not for people like him. That morning had started the same way most mornings did, in a cramped studio apartment on the edge of the city. The sound of traffic leaked through the thin windows, mixing with the hum of an old refrigerator that worked just well enough to keep things from spoiling. Marcus sat on the edge of his bed, staring at his phone. No new delivery requests. "Great," he muttered, rubbing his face. His stomach growled, but he ignored it. Rent was due in a few days, and whatever money he had left needed to stretch. He grabbed his jacket, slung his insulated delivery bag over his shoulder, and headed out. The streets of Los Angeles were already alive, cars honking, people rushing, the constant motion of a city that never waited. Marcus spent the day weaving through traffic on his bike, picking up food orders, dropping them off, chasing tips that barely added up to anything. By evening, exhaustion clung to him. He checked his earnings. Not enough. "Man," he sighed. The sky had begun to darken as he rode past a bus stop near a quieter part of downtown. That's when he saw her. A small figure standing alone. At first, he thought someone must be nearby. But no one came. People passed her. Some glanced. Most didn't. Marcus slowed down. Then stopped. He parked his bike and walked over. "Hey," he said gently. "Where are your parents?" The girl shook her head. "I don't know." Her voice was small, fragile. Marcus glanced around. Nothing. No frantic parent. No one calling out. No signs of anyone looking for her. "What's your name?" he asked. "Amara." "That's a pretty name," he said, offering a small smile. "Do you remember where you live?" She shook her head again, tears forming. A tight feeling settled in his chest. He had his own problems. Bills. Hunger. A life that barely held together on good days. But none of that seemed to matter when he looked at her. "Hey, don't cry," he said, reaching out carefully. "We'll figure this out, okay?" She hesitated, then grabbed his hand. And just like that, he knew he couldn't leave. Marcus started asking around. "Anyone seen this kid's parents?" Nothing. He checked nearby stores, gas stations, even asked a security guard across the street. No one knew anything. Time passed. The streetlights flickered on. And the city grew colder. "I'm hungry," Amara whispered. Marcus froze for a second. He checked his wallet. A few crumpled bills. That was supposed to last him until tomorrow. He looked down at her. Then exhaled. "All right," he said. "Let's get you something to eat." They walked to a nearby food truck, the smell of grilled meat and fries filling the air. "One meal," Marcus said. The vendor nodded. When the food came, Marcus handed it to Amara. "Go ahead." She didn't hesitate. She ate quickly, like she hadn't eaten in hours. "Aren't you eating?" she asked. "I already did," Marcus lied. She smiled. And for a moment, everything felt okay. Night settled fully over the city. Marcus stood on the sidewalk, thinking. He couldn't just leave her. But where could he take her? The police station? He hesitated. People like him didn't always get the benefit of the doubt. Especially not in situations like this. Amara tugged on his sleeve. "I'm scared." He looked down at her. And the decision made itself. "All right," he said quietly. "You can stay with me tonight. Tomorrow, we'll find your parents. Promise?" He nodded. "I promise." His apartment was small. Barely enough space for one person. Amara stepped inside, looking around curiously. "This is your house?" Marcus chuckled. "Yeah. Not much, but it works." "It's nice," she said. He blinked. No one had ever said that before. He spread out a blanket for her on the floor. "You can sleep here." "And you?" "I'll figure it out." Within minutes, she was asleep. Marcus sat against the wall, watching her. "What did I get myself into?" he murmured. His phone buzzed. He picked it up absent-mindedly. Then froze. A breaking news alert filled the screen. "Missing, daughter of tech billionaire Richard Calloway." Marcus tapped it. The image loaded. His breath caught. It was her. Amara. He looked at the sleeping girl, then back at the screen. No way. The report continued. Massive search. Police involved. FBI notified. Reward announced. Marcus ran a hand through his hair. This just got serious. Outside, sirens echoed faintly. And for the first time since he met her, fear crept in. Morning came fast. Marcus hadn't slept. Sunlight slipped through the blinds, landing across the floor where Amara still slept peacefully. For a second, everything felt normal. Then his phone buzzed again. More alerts. More updates. The same story everywhere. He exhaled slowly. This is bad. Behind him, Amara stirred. "Marcus." He turned. "Hey. You're awake." "I had a dream," she said. "Good one?" She nodded. "You were there." Something about that hit him harder than expected. "Guess I'm famous now," he joked lightly. She smiled. Then looked around. "Are we going home today?" He hesitated. "Yeah," he said finally. "We're going to try." Outside, the city felt different. More police. More tension. More eyes watching. Marcus kept his head down as they walked. "Stay close," he whispered. They passed a convenience store where a TV played the news. The search continues for 6-year-old Amara Calloway. Marcus stiffened. People inside were watching closely. If they find whoever took her, someone said, they're done for. Marcus swallowed hard and kept walking. He decided to head toward a police station. It was the right thing to do. But as they got closer, he slowed. Two officers were questioning a man outside. Voices raised. Tension thick. Marcus stopped. "What's wrong?" Amara asked. He stared for a moment, then shook his head. "Nothing. Let's go another way." "Why?" "Just trust me." She nodded. They walked for hours. Marcus asked questions everywhere. Nothing. Then they passed a massive digital billboard. It lit up. Amara's face filled the screen. Marcus froze. "That's me," she said quietly. Below it. "Missing, $2 million reward." Marcus felt his chest tighten. $2 million. That kind of money could change everything. His life. His struggles. Everything. For a brief moment, the thought came. He could call. Take the money. Walk away. No one would know. He looked down at Amara. She was staring at the screen, confused. Trusting him completely. The thought disappeared. "No," he muttered. "Not like that." Nothing. Later, under the shade of a tree, Amara leaned against him. "I'm tired." "I know," Marcus said. "Will my daddy be mad?" He shook his head. "No. He's probably scared." "My daddy is always busy," she said softly. Marcus listened. "He has big houses, and guards." Marcus exhaled slowly. "Yeah, that checks out." As evening approached, a police cruiser slowed near them. "You too," an officer called. Marcus's heart pounded. "Where are you coming from?" "Just walking," Marcus said. "Who is she?" "My little cousin." The officer frowned. Amara looked confused. "What's your name?" the officer asked her. "A.M. "Amy," Marcus cut in quickly. Silence. The officer studied them. Then his radio crackled. He turned away. "Move along." Marcus didn't wait. They walked fast. Only when they turned the corner did he breathe again. "That was close." "Why did you change my name?" Amara asked. He crouched down. "To keep you safe," he said. She studied him. Then nodded. "I trust you." Those words stayed with him. Heavy. Real. Night fell again. Marcus looked at her. At the city. At everything closing in around them. "It's time," he said quietly. "Time for what?" "To take you home." She smiled. And as they stepped forward into the crowded streets, neither of them noticed the black SUV slowly turning the corner behind them. Watching. The black SUV rolled forward slowly, its tinted windows hiding whoever sat inside. It didn't rush. It didn't honk. It just followed at a distance, smooth and deliberate, like it already knew exactly where Marcus and Amara were going. Marcus had no idea. He was too focused on the growing tension pressing against his chest. Every street felt tighter. Every passing car felt like it was watching him. Every siren in the distance made his pulse jump. "Marcus," Amara said softly, her voice barely rising above the noise of the city. "Are we close?" He looked down at her and forced a reassuring smile. "Yeah. We're getting there." But the truth was, he didn't know exactly how this was going to end. He just knew it couldn't keep going like this. They turned onto a wider street where traffic moved steadily, headlights stretching into long lines of light. A large crowd had gathered near an intersection ahead, people clustered around police barricades. Marcus slowed. "What's going on?" he muttered. As they got closer, he saw flashing lights, news vans, cameras mounted on tripods, reporters speaking urgently into microphones. Continuing coverage of the disappearance of Amara Calloway. Marcus stopped in his tracks. This wasn't just a search anymore. This was a full-scale media storm. Amara looked up at the screens mounted on one of the news vans. Her face appeared again. Her name echoed through the speakers. She squeezed Marcus's hand. "That's me again." Marcus nodded slowly, his throat dry. "Yeah, it is." People around them were talking, speculating. "I heard they're offering millions now. They say the FBI is involved. Man, whoever has that girl is finished." Marcus felt the weight of every word. His chest tightened. He looked down at Amara again. Still trusting him. Still holding his hand like he was the safest place in the world. He took a deep breath. "Come on," he said. "We're not stopping here." They moved away from the crowd, cutting through quieter streets. The city noise faded slightly, replaced by the distant hum of traffic and the occasional barking of a dog behind a fence. Marcus's mind raced. He couldn't go to a crowded place. Too many eyes. Too many assumptions. He couldn't keep hiding either. This had to end tonight. "Do you remember anything else?" he asked gently. "Anything at all about your house?" Amara thought for a moment. "There's a big gate," she said. "And a long driveway. And trees." Marcus nodded slowly. That didn't narrow it down much in a city like this. Then she added, "And a fountain. With lights." He paused. That helped. A little. "Okay," he said. "We'll figure it out." Behind them, the black SUV turned the same corner they had just taken. Still keeping distance. Still watching. Inside, a man sat in the back seat, his face partially lit by the glow of a tablet screen. Security footage played silently, clips from traffic cameras, street corners, intersections. Every move Marcus and Amara had made over the past few hours had been tracked. The man leaned forward slightly. "That's her," he said quietly. In the front seat, the driver nodded. "Yes, sir." The man's jaw tightened. "Don't lose them." Marcus and Amara reached a quieter neighborhood lined with large homes and gated properties. Amara slowed. Her eyes scanned the houses. "Wait," she said. Marcus stopped. "What is it?" She pointed down the street. I think it's this way." His heart skipped. "You're sure?" She nodded slowly. "It looks familiar." Marcus didn't question it. "All right," he said. "Let's go." They walked cautiously, passing tall gates, security cameras, and perfectly trimmed hedges. Everything about this place screamed wealth. Marcus felt out of place immediately. He looked down at his worn shoes, his faded jacket. Then at Amara. She didn't seem out of place at all. If anything, she looked like she belonged here. They stopped in front of a massive gate. Amara's grip tightened. "This is it," she whispered. Marcus looked up. The property was enormous. Tall iron gates. Security cameras. A long driveway stretching into the distance. Beyond it, he could see part of a mansion glowing with light. His stomach dropped. This is your house." Amara nodded. Relief washed over her face. "We're home." Marcus exhaled slowly. He had made it. After everything, he had actually made it. He stepped closer to the gate, looking for a way to alert someone. Before he could do anything, bright lights suddenly flooded them. "Hands where we can see them." Marcus froze. Armed security guards appeared from both sides, weapons raised. Amara gasped, gripping his arm. "It's okay," Marcus said quickly, raising his hands. "I'm not here to hurt anyone." "Step away from the girl," one guard shouted. Marcus hesitated for a split second. Amara clung tighter. "Don't leave me." "I'm not leaving you," he said softly. But the guards were closing in. Now, another voice barked. Marcus slowly let go of her hand and stepped back. Amara immediately reached for him again, tears filling her eyes. Marcus. One of the guards moved forward, placing himself between them. That's enough. Within seconds, Marcus was surrounded. Rough hands grabbed his arms, forcing them behind his back. Wait, he said. You don't understand, I was helping her. Save it, one guard snapped. Amara started crying. No. Don't hurt him. He helped me. But no one listened. Marcus's heart pounded as they pushed him forward. This was exactly what he had been afraid of. Misunderstood. Accused. Trapped. I didn't kidnap her, he insisted. I found her alone. Yeah. Tell it to the police, one guard replied coldly. Marcus clenched his jaw. This couldn't be how it ended. Not after everything. Then suddenly. Stop. The voice cut through everything. Calm. Cold. Powerful. Every guard froze. Marcus looked up. A man stepped forward from the entrance of the mansion. Dressed sharply. Surrounded by presence alone. Richard Calloway. Amara's face lit up instantly. Daddy. She broke free from the guard holding her and ran. Past everyone. Past the security. Straight toward Marcus. The entire scene froze. She wrapped her arms around him tightly. Don't hurt him, she cried. He saved me. Silence fell over the driveway. Every eye shifted. From the billionaire. To the man they had just restrained. Marcus stood there, breathing hard, confused, overwhelmed. Amara held onto him like she refused to let go. He helped me, she repeated, her voice trembling. He stayed with me, he gave me food, he didn't leave me. The words hung, a faint, almost invisible smile touched his face. Then it was gone. He looked at Amara. Then back at Marcus. You could have called the number, he said. Taken the reward. Marcus shrugged slightly. Didn't feel right. Another pause. Longer this time. Then Richard turned to one of his men. Pull the footage, he said. Every camera that picked them up. Yes, sir. Minutes passed. No one spoke. Then. It's confirmed, the man said. He's telling the truth. He stayed with her the entire time. Protected her. A shift moved through the air. Tension dissolved. Suspicion faded. Respect took its place. Richard looked at Marcus again. This time, differently. Most people, he said slowly, would have made a very different choice. Marcus didn't respond. He didn't know what to say. Richard stepped closer. Name. Marcus. Richard nodded. Marcus, you did something rare. Amara squeezed his hand again. He's my friend, she said. Richard looked down at her, then back at Marcus. Then, after a long pause, he said something that changed everything. I don't forget people who protect what matters to me. The words settled into the night air, heavy with meaning. Marcus didn't respond immediately. He stood there, still trying to steady his breathing, still feeling the ghost of tension in his arms where the guards had held him. Everything had happened so fast, the accusations, the fear, the sudden shift. And now this. Amara still clung to his hand, her small fingers wrapped tightly around his like she was afraid someone might pull him away again. I told you, she said, looking up at her father with teary eyes. He's good. Richard Calloway studied the scene in silence. The contrast was impossible to ignore. His daughter, dressed in wrinkled but expensive clothes, standing beside a man whose jacket had seen better years, whose shoes carried the dust of long, exhausting days. Two completely different worlds, somehow standing side by side. "Bring her inside," Richard said gently, his voice softening for the first time. One of the house staff stepped forward, but Amara didn't move. "No," she said quickly, tightening her grip on Marcus. "He's coming too." The request hung in the air. Several guards exchanged glances. Marcus shook his head slightly. "It's okay," he said. "You can go. You're home now." But she didn't let go. "Please," she whispered. Marcus hesitated. Then slowly, he looked up at Richard. For a moment, neither man spoke. Then Richard gave a small nod. "Let him come." The inside of the mansion felt like another world. Warm lighting reflected off polished floors. Large paintings hung on the walls, and everything, from the furniture to the smallest detail, spoke of quiet, undeniable wealth. Marcus stepped in cautiously, almost afraid to touch anything. Amara stayed close to him, as if he was the only familiar thing in the room. A woman rushed in from another hallway. "Amara." She dropped to her knees, pulling the girl into a tight embrace. "I was so scared," she cried. "Don't ever do that again." Amara hugged her back. "I'm okay, Mommy." Marcus looked away slightly, giving them space. The moment felt private, important. But he could still feel Richard's eyes on him. Watching. Measuring. After a few minutes, Amara pulled away and pointed. "This is Marcus," she said proudly. "He took care of me." The woman looked up, her expression still emotional, but now filled with curiosity. You were with her?" she asked. Marcus nodded. "Yes, ma'am." "Thank you," she said immediately, her voice breaking slightly. "You have no idea what you've done for us." Marcus shifted awkwardly. "I just couldn't leave her out there." Richard stepped forward again. "Sit," he said, gesturing toward a nearby couch. Marcus hesitated. "I'm fine." "That wasn't a suggestion," Richard said calmly. Marcus sat. It felt strange. Out of place. Like he didn't belong in a space like this. A staff member appeared with a tray of food and water, placing it in front of him. Marcus stared at it for a second. Then at Richard. "Eat," Richard said. This time, Marcus didn't argue. He picked up the fork slowly and began to eat. The first bite hit harder than he expected. He hadn't realized how hungry he really was. Amara watched him with a small smile. "I told you he didn't eat," she said. Marcus gave a slight, embarrassed chuckle. Richard said nothing, but his expression shifted again, just slightly. Time passed quietly. The tension from earlier had faded, replaced by something calmer. More reflective. Richard eventually sat across from Marcus, leaning forward slightly. "Tell me everything," he said. Marcus did. He explained how he found Amara at the bus stop. How no one stopped. How she couldn't remember where she lived. How he asked around, tried to find help, but got nothing. He talked about the food, the night in his apartment, the moment he saw the news. He didn't leave anything out. When he finished, the room was silent. Richard leaned back, processing it all. "And you never thought of calling the number?" he asked again. Marcus shook his head. "I saw the reward." "And?" Marcus shrugged. "Didn't feel right taking money for something I'd do anyway." Richard held his gaze. Longer this time. Then he nodded slowly. "I believe you." A man in a suit entered the room quietly, holding a tablet. "Sir," he said, handing it over. Richard glanced at the screen briefly. Then passed it to Marcus. Marcus frowned slightly as he looked at it. It was footage. Different clips from across the city. Him and Amara. Walking. Talking. Sitting under a tree. At the food truck. Outside his apartment. Every step they had taken, recorded somewhere. You were being watched? Marcus asked, confused. Tracked, Richard corrected calmly. There's a difference. Marcus exhaled slowly. That's kind of scary. It's necessary, Richard replied. Marcus handed the tablet back. I guess it worked. Richard didn't respond to that. Instead, he leaned forward slightly. You said you're a delivery driver? Marcus nodded. Yeah. How much do you make in a week? Marcus hesitated. Then gave a rough answer. Richard didn't react immediately. But something in his expression made it clear, he had already expected less. Do you like it? He asked. Marcus let out a small laugh. Does anyone like struggling? A faint smile appeared on Richard's face. Fair point. Amara climbed onto the couch beside Marcus. You can stay here, she said suddenly. Marcus blinked. What? You can live here, she continued. We have lots of space. Her innocence made him smile. I don't think it works like that, he said gently. But I want you to stay, she insisted. Marcus looked at Richard. This time, Richard didn't dismiss it immediately. Instead, he spoke slowly. She's not entirely wrong. Marcus raised an eyebrow. I take care of people who prove their character, Richard continued. And you've done that. Marcus shifted slightly. I didn't do it for anything. I know, Richard said. That's exactly why this matters. He paused. Then added, I want to offer you something. Marcus stayed quiet. Listening. A job, Richard said. A real one. Stable. Good pay. Opportunities. Marcus frowned slightly. Doing what? Starting wherever you're comfortable, Richard replied. But with room to grow. Marcus considered it. It sounded unreal. Yesterday, he was worrying about his next meal. Today, he was sitting in a mansion, being offered a future. All because I stopped, he murmured. Richard nodded. Most people didn't. That hit harder than anything else. Marcus looked down at his hands. Then at Amara. Then back at Richard. I don't want special treatment, he said finally. You're not getting special treatment, Richard replied. You're getting an opportunity. What you do with it is up to you. Marcus exhaled slowly. That felt fair. Okay, he said. Amara clapped her hands happily. Yay! Marcus laughed softly. For the first time since everything started, it felt genuine. Later that night, Marcus stepped outside onto the large front driveway. The air was cooler now. Quieter. The chaos of the last 24 hours had finally settled. He looked out at the gates. The same place where everything had nearly gone wrong. Where he had been surrounded, accused, misunderstood. And now. Everything was different. Footsteps approached behind him. Richard. You handled yourself well out there, he said. Marcus shrugged. I was scared. Good, Richard replied. Only people who understand fear know how to act when it matters. Marcus glanced at him. That's an interesting way to look at it. Richard nodded slightly. They stood in silence for a moment. Then Richard spoke again. You changed something, he said. Marcus frowned. What do you mean? Her, Richard said simply. She trusts easily, but not like that. Marcus looked down, thinking about it. She just needed someone, he said. Richard nodded. And you were that someone. Another pause. Then Richard added, that matters more than you think. The next morning, Marcus stood at the edge of a new beginning. Clean clothes. A full stomach. A future that looked nothing like the past he had known. Amara ran up to him before he could leave. "You're coming back, right?" she asked. Marcus smiled. "Yeah," he said. "I'm coming back." She hugged him tightly. "Promise?" He nodded. "I promise." As he walked toward the gates, they slowly opened. This time, not as a barrier, but as a path forward. And as Marcus stepped out into the world again, one thing was clear. Sometimes, the smallest decision, like stopping for someone everyone else ignored, can change everything. If this story touched you in any way, take a second to think about it. In a world where everyone kept walking, one person chose to stop, and that changed everything. If you believe kindness still matters, go ahead and hit that like button so more people can see stories like this. Drop a comment below and tell me, what would you have done if you were in Marcus's position? And if you enjoy powerful, emotional stories like this, don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss the next one. Your support helps bring more stories like this to life, and who knows, the next one might stay with you forever.